Chinese leaders have ordered immediate action to contain a fast-spreading Delta outbreak. 60 new cases have been confirmed. Authorities are concerned about the rising numbers. That's a stark change to last week's stance when the government described the outbreak as controllable. But they insist homegrown vaccines are effective against the Delta strain.
Several Chinese cities are back in isolation as the country battles its worst outbreak since last year. But a return to targeted lockdowns and a transport shutdown is already taking a toll.
这突然疫情把整个的生活我感觉都打乱了，相当于下一个信用卡的他们都会逾期，我感觉这个疫情影响挺大的，真的。
控制咱国家控制挺好的，但他们这种没有时间的、没时没晌的，这真受不了，这种精神上受不了，这种压力。
The outbreak, which began in Nanjing 3 weeks ago, has spread to more than 17 provinces, including Beijing. Some of those infected had already been vaccinated. Health officials have defended their decision to impose lockdowns, saying vaccinations cannot replace containment measures. For now, they are sticking to their tried and tested method of aggressive testing, regardless of whether people are vaccinated or not.
Hello, Min Min joins us for more. Min Min, concerns being raised at the highest levels of government now.
Yes, indeed. Yesterday, Vice Premier Sun Chunlan said that the situation is fluid and uncertain. They're expecting new cases, and they are closely monitoring the situation and revising the guidelines every day. But there was some attempt to reassure the public this afternoon at the press conference. Government officials said the situation is in fact controllable, and they're confident that given their track record, the measures that they already have in place, they know that these are working as long as all cities and provinces carry out what they're supposed to do and stay alert, the virus would be contained. And that's because they said the two simultaneous outbreaks, one originating from the Nanjing airport and the other from the number 6 hospital at Zhengzhou city. Both of these happened because of lax implementation of COVID-19 prevention measures, as well as weak supervision from local authorities. And that's why they are taking accountability by removing some party officials from their posts and also stepping up training for essential workers so that they know how to protect themselves and others. And the key right now is speed. And so Beijing has given authority to local government to implement and activate emergency response if necessary. They are required to report any positive cases within 2 hours of detection so that swift action could be taken. And that means a lockdown of a compound, mass nucleic acid testing, tracking the travel history of infected people, identifying the close contacts, and putting people into centralized quarantine if necessary.
And how do authorities then plan to stamp out this outbreak?
Yeah, so they have announced a whole slew of measures that were already implemented over the past few days. But the new thing that was announced today was regarding education. The summer holiday is ending soon and school is supposed to reopen by the end of the month. But people don't know if that's still happening. And the special situation now is that the government has identified 144 middle and high risk zones yesterday. And in these areas, travel in and out of them is not allowed. So there is a group of people who have traveled out of their hometowns because of the summer vacation and ended up visiting some of these mid or high risk areas. And now they're trapped, having to stay put there. And they are not sure if they can return home and go back to school, even if schools do reopen. But the Education Ministry today has said that the situation is too uncertain for them to set any concrete and specific date for reopening of schools. So they're taking a customized response. All localities, different provinces and different schools may have different measures, but they have said that even if schools do not reopen, online learning would be available, and there would also be psychological counseling for those who need support. Aside from that, they are also rolling out vaccination not just for the general public, but for teenagers aged 12 to 17 in schools. And besides that, the usual precautions are stepped up. We didn't have to wear masks and have our travel health code checked at every single location. But now, these days, that's required, and temperature checks as well when we enter buildings. And of course, large-scale events are cancelled. They are stepping up disinfection and ventilation in public transport. And they're also stepping up checks at all airports, land ports, and seaports to minimize the risk of any imported cases.
All right, thanks for the update. Lo Min Min speaking to us from Beijing.